LoneStar.com.
Hey, this is Lo with Soul Harbor, and you are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for listening to the Cindy Cochran Show and joining us. You're not on yet. You're not on yet. Quit waving at the camera.
Always on.
Yeah,
that's always on. You know that.
That's true. Okay, he's going to
Continue
probably
with the
put you on.
introduction. I'll be quiet like you told me to be.
Okay. And we're so happy to thank our sponsor, the Wootton Financial Group. They're so great. They're sponsoring us. I have a sponsor. I thought that would never happen. He sponsored us once before when we were over in the old studio.
But it didn't go well.
No, he came back. See, I try to tell people, if you want to sponsor, this guy came back, and he knew better. But he came back, and it was great. So Chris Wootton is the guy to call if you're worried about your financial plans. He'll put that together for you. So whether you got money or you think, I don't have enough money to go to a financial planner. Yes, you do. Because he'll help you make it grow.
Will he answer just like one quick question? I'm trying to decide if I'm like financially able to buy a carton of eggs this week.
A what?
A carton of eggs. Have you
carton of
checked
eggs?
With the egg prices?
Yes, yeah. And so I told everybody, I said, it's going to be either the yolk or the white. What do you want? So that's what we're going to do. Divide this up. But because
none of the whole egg parties anymore like you used to have.
No.
Like, you got to pick.
And no more throwing eggs. I don't know what they're going to do now.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Easter's going to be tough.
Oh, yes. You're all going to get plastic eggs. Mm-hmm. Why do you get me off the...
That'll be great for the environment. Anyway, back to the Wootton Financial Group, our sponsor.
The Wootton Financial Group, our sponsor, is great. And so you really do need to call him. He's a great guy. Sam loves him. Sam doesn't like anybody, but Sam likes this guy. And he's done a great job with us. I had, this is all I could afford. But we had him on and we talked about all the kind of stuff like, what do you do for people come in and ask you for, like crazy questions? How do you handle that? Because money's so important and it's a very personal thing, so you got to be careful. Mm-hmm. So I'm so glad there's someone like Chris Wootton around. Thank you for being our sponsor. Okay, so today, I'm so excited. Drum roll, please. We've got the one and only Bob Smiley, Christian comedian, all-around good guy.
Longtime friend.
How long have we been friends?
We've been friends. It doesn't matter. We don't need to. This isn't a math interview. We've been friends a long time. But you've had me on several times, and I was like, you asked me again, and I was like, I wonder why she wants me back. And then I went to YouTube and I started looking at the views, and I noticed whenever I was on, you were getting like 12 or 14 more views than your other one. So you're welcome.
Well, right now you're competing with Don Wilson, my Elvis Presley connection, and he got 100. So if you can bring in at least that,
100,
you'll be on again. Mm-hmm. No, but I hadn't seen you in 6 months. You realize it's been 6 months since I started the show again.
Yeah.
And so you were my first guest. And I was late.
I remember, and you texted me the other day. I was on the road because nobody's seen me. I've been on the road.
That's right.
Which is it's a huge blessing. But yeah, it's like the road has been plentiful. I've been all over, and you texted me, and I remember thinking, that's still on? And so I wanted to do that joke so I could tell people how long we've been friends. We've been friends long enough I can do that joke.
Yeah.
You know I'm a huge fan.
Oh, yes. Of course you are. He's just jealous because I got to be on the Johnny Carson show and he didn't. I got to sit in that chair and he didn't. And he doesn't understand why.
And you met Henry Winkler.
Make sense. And met Henry. I just saw Night Shift the other day. Do you remember that movie?
I didn't see it because I'm a Christian, so it's important to guard your eyes and your heart. But you were watching it again?
Yes.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Michael Keaton and Henry Winkler, and it was just a blast from the past, and it was kind of a naughty narrative to it. But it was just, I just hadn't seen him in so long. And
Was that Ron Howard's first movie as a director?
no, he did Corvair, something about a Corvette. He did a movie. He directed a movie.
Okay.
It was the red
But
Corvette.
did he do Night Shift?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that wasn't
Yeah.
his first.
No.
Okay.
No, he'd already broken into the little thing. But I remember. I'm so glad you brought that up because I got a story about that. Henry Winkler. I'm sure I didn't tell you about this. That he came on the show at Channel 13. They were touring, doing Happy Day and all that. And so he came on the show, and all the girls from the offices were coming in to see him. And so one of the girls said, "He keeps looking at you, Cindy." And I went, "No, he's not looking at me. Y'all are all here." He's looking at you, Cindy. And I went, "Oh, shut up." And so after the interview was over, he came over and he said, "Hey, listen," because I'd brought him some coffee when he first came in. I said, he had a coffee cup in his hand. He had coffee in his hand. I went, "You're Henry Winkler. Hey, how are you?" He said, "Yes, I am." And he's worried that the coffee's going to spill. Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing I talked to him about. But anyway, after it was over, he came over and said, "Hey, listen, I have to go to this party tonight, and I want to know if you'd like to go with me." And I went, "Oh, that is so sweet that you'd ask me, but I don't think my husband would let me." And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I would never do that to anybody. I don't want it done to me. I'm sorry. Well, I said, "Well, I appreciate you saying that." So he left, and they said, "What do you want?" And I said, "He wanted to take me out, but I just said, my husband wouldn't let me." And they said, "You told him you were married? What's wrong with you? You could have gone out with Henry Winkler."
Does Sam know, your husband, that you turned down the Fonz?
It didn't matter to him.
Oh, it didn't matter?
No.
I'd be bringing that up every day. Like, honey, this meatloaf's a little tough. Really, I bet the Fonz wouldn't think it's too tough.
Yeah,
I would
let me call him.
I'd be dropping that every day.
It was great. And I had a picture of him and I in my office at church.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that picture. You didn't take it, did you?
So what else you been up to? Life been good?
I'm just so happy you're here. Thank you so much for being here because, you can bring up points that I have forgotten and things that happened when you were just a young just starting out.
A wee little lad.
Yeah, starting to think you're funny. And it was so great to watch you grow and have people come out of the church auditorium going, "That he's so loud. Why is he so loud? Could y'all turn his mic down?"
Wait a minute, they didn't say he's so funny. They just said
so
he's really loud.
right?
I don't think that's a glowing
no, but everybody,
compliment that comics look for.
But Bob.
How was his show?
Everybody.
It was loud. Everybody could hear.
Yes,
that's not a good.
Well, a lot of the people there needed that. But I remember that the kids just loved you. You just spoke to the children. Mm-hmm. And then I saw the adults were just having as much fun, and I was watching them, and they would get a lot of the stuff in the undertone of what you were trying to say. And
I tried to write multi-leveled where like kids would think it's funny, but then also I'd keep the parents' attention,
like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, very much Looney Tunes. That's what I grew up. I remember I recorded my first CD at our church years ago when I first moved here, and I remember our like young marrieds group, like one of my best friends there. He was like, "This is great, but what if you don't do well? Like, then you have to go back to church here? Like, you're filming it at your home church?" And I was like, I never thought about that. But if I don't do well,
true.
Then we're going to have to find another church. Like,
no, you were perfect.
It went well.
And it was like, I was so glad to have you there, the talent you had, that I could use you for all the videos, too. You did a lot of videos for me, and it was a lot of fun.
My church now is starting to discover that I can do that. And so I've kind of like flown under the radar, but I've done a couple now. And then my wife's in charge of the women's ministry. And so she did a video. I should have called you on this, but I wrote and then filmed it, her and this other comedian, this female comedian they're bringing in for the women's retreat. And so we sent that, and that did well. And so I'm starting to get hit up. So I'm about to be back in the business of filming stuff. Yeah, but we had a blast, like back in the day, just like filming all these promos and stuff. And
and the dirt bike and that video that we did for Carl.
Yeah, R.I.P. my dirt bike. Yeah.
Yes, I know.
The
Poor
dirt bike that
thing.
never worked again.
It was such a.
It was a great video, but
it was so dangerous. It was really. I mean, look back on it, like that was pretty stupid to do because it could have hurt so many people.
yeah.
But
and it only hurt me.
yeah,
so
it only
that's
hurt.
good.
Yeah, because he trashed your. I mean, he didn't trash.
Speaking of having to find another church, yeah. Yeah.
If you don't pay me for, yeah, that did make a it was a splash.
People were like, why'd you leave? I was like, we're going to find a church that, if they wreck my bike, they'll fix it. Like, call me crazy, but that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
I thought of you because we always share traveling stories. I've been doing a lot of 3-day runs in Louisiana and Arkansas, and I'm doing this. I'm working with this guy, this ministry he has that he goes around and encourages pastors, but we've been way out in the country doing like local little small churches. It's been a blast, but I checked in this hotel the other day, and the lady, super nice, but very country. And I was like, do you guys have an exercise room? And she goes, yeah, we do. And there was a lady behind her that also worked there, and she was like, we don't have an exercise room. And she goes, we got 3 floors. He can run the stairs. I was like, this is where my career is at. I'm like, do you have an exercise room? We have stairs. You can run them.
That's
Like,
right.
But I thought, I got to tell
That's
Cindy that. It
wonderful.
was really good.
I can smell the hallway just by what you just said.
Just the
Yeah.
descriptive, I always tell
that's-
people my favorite hotel game is guess the stain on the floor. Like you just walk into the room like, that's an iron, that's blood, that's, I think a raccoon was in here. And
That's well, a hotel. I couldn't wait to go to a hotel. Sam was a traveling salesman, so he was always in hotels, and he hated to travel. And I hadn't gone anywhere except to Alexandria, Louisiana. It was the only place I'd ever gone in my whole life outside of Texas. And so it was like I said, "So you don't want to travel?" He goes, traveling's, it's not what it's all cracked up to be. Is it just you don't need to travel. I mean, you've got Texas. What else would you want? And I said, I'd just like to see, what other places look like. And because I felt like I was so dumb. And he just said, I just don't worry about it. Just, enjoy where you are. In the place where you are.
because he didn't want to go anywhere.
He didn't want to go anywhere. He just come home after a week being gone. And then he'd come home and then just want to, I don't want to talk about it, rest. But it was funny to me because I would think living is just great. You call up and you tell them what you want to eat. And we did go to I guess it's Mar-a-Lago now. It's where Trump bought it in Florida. And we went to some conference there. And so I was running a lot, and I always ate a lot. That was always what I did. I always ate a lot. But I was running a lot, and I ordered breakfast one morning, and he'd already gone to the meetings. And so they brought the breakfast, and they said, after they put it down, and they said, do you want me to put this out for your husband? And I went, just a minute. Honey, are you? I think he's still in the shower. He's not going to be able to hear me.
So you had a
But
cover
just go
for
ahead.
ordering.
Yes. Because that was like 2 steaks and pancakes and eggs. It was terrible.
My wife and I, Sarah, we have this little Chinese place that we found that we love, and so we ordered Chinese food because the kids were all gone, and so we had like a night alone that we could sit and watch a movie and stuff. And I was unpacking the bag, and we went crazy on ordering. And I was unpacking the bag, and they put 4 things of silverware for individuals in there. I was like, that's pretty insulting. I didn't ask,
That's
but they were
right.
like, oh, this is obviously for 4 people.
Right.
And so I was like, okay.
But they have the little boxes that you open up and
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they still did that or not.
Yeah, there's a place. I'm not going to say its name, but it's,
Why not?
it's on Rayford. Can we say it? Golden
Sure.
China.
Golden
China.
China,
It is
yeah.
right on Rayford. It is on the corner of 45 and Rayford. It is our favorite Chinese place. And you look at it from the outside and you're like, oh, I don't have my tetanus shot. But you walk in and they're super friendly and they're fast, and the shrimp, the Szechuan shrimp is, it's the bomb.
Oh, see, and you just had that Subway sandwich that I brought you.
That you did.
And I can't believe, and I didn't eat anything. You notice that I just ate a little bit of chips.
I had a little chips left of mine.
No, I ate chips, and you and Richard got that. But it was, now see, I had this thought going, and then you just broke it. And
It was gonna be
when you
great.
it was so
Szechuan
good.
shrimp, golden china,
No, anyway, I'm
crab
glad.
ragoon.
I've never met your wife.
You said broccoli.
I've never met your wife.
Now I'm just trying to wreck you. I'm just trying to.
Just like
You were talking about being on 45. You had your trash cans in the back of your car. And how about a callback from 6 months ago, from a show 6 months ago? That's the kind of professional comedian I am.
you know, I would have just let him play that show over again. We just acted like it was the first time you've
Like
been
brand
on.
new.
No, but you're like this. You know, we'd have a substitute teacher, and we would always come up with things like, "What about chapter 2? Are you gonna do anything on that?" And while she's in the middle of lecturing or saying something, she goes, "You just got me all off. I don't know what. I gotta go back. Let me find out where I was." And everybody would say different things where she was. So we just wanted to stay without doing any work. But that's what you remind me of. Anyway, so I did have things I wanted to have you just comment on
Okay.
with your quick wit. Let's see how fast you go.
I did it.
Ready?
I'm
Get
in.
set?
Okay, can I tell this
Yes,
really
of
quick?
course.
I'm in Ord, Nebraska, ORD, Nebraska on Friday, and they asked me if I'd do a radio interview because I'm playing this theater called the Husk Theater. It's a really cool theater, but they have all these partners and stuff. So they were like, "Will you do this radio show?" And so they called me yesterday morning, and I was like, and just from the email I could tell, and it was like, "Hey, Bob Smiley, this is JJ, and we're excited that you're coming to the Husk." And I was like, "Yeah, man, it's going to be great." And he goes, "Well, okay, we're going to start recording right now." And I was like, so we're not even doing the interview. Like, this is how he talks. Like, it was, but I was doing jokes because they're getting 10 inches of snow the day before I land. And you can't fly into Ord, Nebraska. You have to fly into Omaha and drive 3 hours to it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to be driving through 10 inches of snow for 3 hours to get this show. And so I was doing weather jokes and stuff. And he was like, and he goes, "Ha ha, Bob Smiley, you are slaying me with that winter wit." And I was like, who, does he have a thesaurus right in front of him? Like, who talks like this? Just get me on Cindy's show so we can just sit around and not talk about broccoli.
That's right, and that you can just talk about anything you
Yeah.
want.
All right,
to
go
here.
ahead. Hit me with
Okay.
your.
All right. So I know you're a good cook. You like to cook, and Richard loves to
Do
cook.
you know anything about me?
Just go with the flow, would you?
Oh,
for crying
okay,
out
all
loud?
right, all right. I see where this is going.
Richard is a really, really good cook. I just wondered how it hit you with the inflation we have, with the border that we have, with the all the wokeness that's going on around all of us, and what the administration decides to do is to ban gas stoves. Do you have anything that you'd like to comment about that?
The only thing I would say is, honestly, coming in to do a radio show, it would be good to get some prep. Because last night, as I was going to bed, I was like flipping through my phone and little news stuff, and I just saw a headline about that. Mm-hmm. I know nothing about it. I know nothing about banning gas stoves. I just know it's like a hot topic, and I do a Smiley Minute. Like I look at the news every week, and so I even put that in my notes, like check out the gas stove. So for all your listeners out there, if I could just chime in my 2 cents worth, I don't really know anything about it.
Well, you do know that there are gas stoves, and they're
I am
in
familiar
many
with gas.
houses, and it's very
We have some,
trendy
yeah.
To have a gas stove, and people that like to cook would rather use a gas stove than an electric stove.
Right.
And so if he would stop selling our supply of oil to the Chinese, it would probably we have enough gas to have the gas stoves. But I think they're trying to, cut down on the gas use.
So what is the ban? So educate me and any listener that doesn't know about it, because I really am going to look this up later.
The ban is that in New York, a mayor said, one of the mayors, New York. Anyway, it was a mayor in a very woke place said, we're going to be banning the sale of any gas stoves. And if you have a gas stove, you suggest that you go to electric stove. And the people that just sat in there looking at,
Did they say why?
$4,000. No, it's just for the emissions. They think
okay.
It's very bad for the environment, and so it's not that kind of gas, though. I mean, I'm just wondering when they're going to be able.
We have 12 Taco Bells here, but nobody's trying to shut them down. Worried about the gas emission, like they're just
But before you leave there, you've done enough damage to the environment. But I think that it's just there's so many things that they could be concentrating on and trying to fix and help us with instead of going after the stoves. And so it became a big thing, and everybody was like, they're coming after your stove. You thought it was the guns, but that was just a different distraction. They're coming for your gas
They're going to get your stoves now. Like, the gun thing didn't work, so now they're like, okay, what else can they use to... Like, all right, if they can't cook the meat, maybe they won't hunt, and then maybe they won't need guns. Like, maybe there's a roundabout way.
That's right, because they were trying to, the cows were emitting enough gas. Maybe they were trying to get to them, eventually.
A roundabout way.
Yeah, in a roundabout way.
What did you think about the new bill that they passed in South Carolina?
Okay, now wait. Now don't tell me. Was it the one where they... I don't know.
Well, it's terrible to just have something thrown at you like that with no preparation.
I told you that they wanted to ban what do they want to do in South Carolina?
I was working on Smiley Minute, and I found this just right before I came up here. They actually passed a bill where they can fine people if they're driving slow in the fast lane. And the bill is bumping up because they've already had that where you can like fine them, but it was $25. And it worked for a while, but then people were like, I'll just pay the $25. But they've written over 500 tickets. If you are driving slow in the fast lane and somebody pulls up behind you and you don't move over, sorry, all you vapors, but you're going to have to start getting over, okay? Like, it is, and I'm like, I was sitting there going, I have never wanted to say this before in my life, but Texas, we've got to become like South Carolina. Like, we've got to get that rule. And so they literally have the rule that if you're driving slow in the fast lane and you don't get over if somebody's behind you, then a cop can pull you over and ticket you.
That is, oh dear, another thing I have to worry about.
Just get over, Cindy. Just let me pass. That's all.
I can't stand for anybody in front of me, though. So that's a problem. And I get distracted about how fast we're going. But I can tell that as soon as if it's in a single lane, and they're behind me, and as soon as I turn off, and how fast they take off, and I'm going like, what? What's wrong? They were so mad because how slow I was going down.
I remember that, but they had a funeral to get to. Like they all had their lights on behind you. You didn't see that? Like, could you just maybe put your phone down for a second?
Don't even get me started about lights, because at night, when everybody puts their brights on, and I have to click on my brights to tell them, take your brights off. I can't even see. What they do is they make me where I can't see that little line on the right side of the road that the driving teacher said. Anytime somebody's coming down there and they have their brights on, so you can always stay in your lane, make sure you watch that white line on the right of the road. Mm-hmm. But when you can't see it because they blinded you with the light.
And so you go over and you get a little foot massage
and then
from the rumble strips.
The what?
The little rumble strips they put on the sides to keep you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? If you move over to the side, it does that little. They did that for blind people.
I guess that was hard to.
It's hard to stay in the lane.
Stay in the lane
for
when
a
you're
while.
blind.
No, they have the rumble strips, and it's like a little foot
right.
massage. Anytime I accidentally go over too much, I tell Sarah, I'm like, a little free foot massage there for you. I'm just thinking of you. You know what I did one time, because one time I was driving all night, like every night for like 2 weeks doing a tour, but I staggered my hotels because the promoters were paying for the hotels, and so I figured out if I staggered them, I wouldn't have to pay for one hotel the last night, and so I would do a show and drive all night to the next hotel, check in, sleep.
Oh,
but I'm driving all night, and people would come over the hill, and they would have their high beams on, and I'd flash them, and they would lower their lights. Or the best was when we'd both come over the hill, and we'd lower, dim our lights. I don't know why, but it made me feel like, they care about me.
I would think the same thing, but that didn't happen.
But then, whenever we're right about to pass, boom, they'll go back to high beam. And so you know what I started doing? This is terrible.
What? Oh,
But
tell me.
I
what?
had, I had all my stuff with me, so I had a little spotlight, and so if they did that, I would be just going, "Oh yeah," and just spotlight them as they go right beside me. I was like, "All right, we'll see who's blinded." Yeah.
Well,
And so,
the kids will go, Grandma, don't make such a big deal of it. It's not such a big deal. And why you get so angry? I said, I'm trying not to be angry with them. I'm trying to think of all the reasons why they know that I don't have my brights on, and I'm going to have to put my brights on to flash them with the
Easy.
bright lights and make them bring those lights down. And he says, well, you're going to make somebody mad. If you do that, you'll make them mad. So don't do that. And I went, oh, I can't wait for you to drive. I can't wait for you to sit there because that is very aggravating.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you said something about the.
yeah,
I don't know how they
I
started,
have so many moments like that where I'm like, okay, when you get older, you're gonna understand. What I remember, Coulter, my oldest, like called me one time and he was like, they charge for trash. To pick up our trash, and I'm like, "Yep, welcome to adulthood." And he's like, "We have to pay for our trash to be picked up." And I was like, "Yeah, you just think those trucks just appear out of nowhere?" And very eye opening.
He could call me and I'll come get it and
And
drive it.
and you're
I'll
in the
drive
back
the
of your car.
No, now they've gotten those big trash cans I can't put in my car.
That's a
anymore.
callback to 6 months ago.
Yes.
You're a professional now.
Yes, I am. I'm sorry. I just don't think my people stay with me long enough to remember those things. So that's what I'm hoping for. But I do want you to talk about this. This is not. It may sound like it's going to be political, but it's not political. It's just something that happened.
Good, because my last show this weekend, I normally I dabble in a little political humor.
Yes.
But I don't try to, because I just want everybody to have a good time.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I was closing out my show and I was telling the story about my neighbor, because my neighbor is the exact opposite of me. Like, he's a vegan and I'm a Texan with taste buds, like basically like we're opposite. And this is a new bit, so I hadn't really like thought. And I said he's a Democrat. And then in my mind I was like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I should have said we're politically different. And I go, he's a Democrat. And as I paused, my brain of course kicked out a joke, and I couldn't stop it. And I was like, and I am intelligent, and and the place went nuts. Which then
Yeah,
for a
you're
comic,
fidgeted.
I mean, that is
That's what you're looking.
that is mainlining adrenaline, and so
Exactly.
I did
10 minutes
probably.
after.
Oh, it was so. It wasn't terrible, but I did get some hate mail. I got some.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh.
And here's the thing: because of social media, you get the hate mail right when you walk off stage. So I walked off stage to the guy who brought me in, and I've known him forever. And I walked up and I pulled up my Instagram because I knew there was going to be some. And of course, it was flooded with, oh my gosh, that was great. That was the best show, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like going through and I was like, there's got to be. And then there was one. And this was a Christian youth event. And the language, like, there's no way this kid had been a sailor, but I guess his family was, and he knew the words. And it was just all, because I don't like to leave open-ended stories, I'll say a couple of things. He said, piece of. I won't finish it, but
okay.
It was, it was
Good.
great.
I
And
just
was like,
can't
'cause
imagine
you just get
what
that,
it
you get that
was.
response immediately because they can just DM you on the deal. But they were like,
Well,
keep the politics out of it. And I was like, yeah, I probably should.
I don't know why.
But go ahead, ask me a political question now.
No, it was just a comment on what the news has been, harping on. Like, don't you look at stories that they start harping on, and it becomes where that's got to be free game because everybody's talking about it and everybody's upset about it, or they don't understand it and they want, answers, and they can't get any answers from anyone. So I wondered if you were a reporter and you got to be in the White House, group. They're asking the lady that answers the questions for the president,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to ask a question about why would you drive your Corvette backwards into your garage like that, and let everybody see where your garage is, and that you've got this fine-looking Corvette, and you're going to back it into this, and then you don't even pull down the front of the garage. So, isn't that dangerous? Would you?
Yeah. Do you honestly think it's because they really do think that we're that like dumb that we don't? And I wonder if they realize like there's social media now, and so like things get posted all the time, and like the truth is getting out, and there's property records and aerial photographs and all these people that are, like, you guys are killing the environment. And then they show the house and the 3 private jets that they have. And I'm like, you think you're probably helping, like, it may not just be us.
You think, and the people, like the guy that murdered, well, he just was charged with murder this today. The one that the mom left and he told all this elaborate story that she'd gone to the airport and he didn't know where she is. And
See, I don't know this story either.
Oh, you got to listen to the news.
That paper boy, if it's not in the bushes, it's up on the roof. I have the hardest time getting news.
But this is what kills me. They talk to the dad, her husband, and he's giving them this story, and they're buying it until usually they're very suspicious of the husband. He's like the first one. The wife goes missing. Now, this is what kills me, is that this is what came out, that they looked on his computer, and he has on there, he's asking the question to the computer, tell me, how do I
You
get
almost
rid
said
of...
Ask Jeeves, didn't you? Guys, he pulled up, that little paperclip popped up. You can ask that paperclip.
I was going to ask him, but so he says, "Listen, I just want to know, how do you dispose of a 115-pound body?"
That's what he Googled.
That's what he Googles, and then he goes to what would I need to clean up a murder of a 115-pound body? And so they tell him the things he needs to get at Home Depot. So he goes to Home Depot and he buys $400 worth of cleaning equipment, hacksaw, whatever it is, and
bleach. You need 4 tubs that will hold.
Yes.
And has he not seen Breaking Bad?
I don't know what the guy's been. Where have you been? And they have. So he has the receipt and everything, and so there they go, and they're wondering if he could be the guy, and so they're investigating this. I'm like, what more do you need to investigate? Well, we need to get the DNA. So they find, they go through his car, and he'd been trying to clean out the car, but there was enough stuff left in the car that had his DNA and her DNA with blood. They haven't charged him yet. Then today, finally, they go like, okay, we're going to charge him with murder. I was like, how long?
What changed your mind? Did he confess finally?
Nobody smiled when they had him. They brought him in, and he's smiling at the camera and all. And he's just like very cuckoo. And his mother, who they feel like has been helping him, lose things. They can't find the body, so he feels like he's gold until they find the body, because there was another murder like that was in Galveston, where the guy he got mad at his roommate and killed him and cut him all up and then took him out to the Galveston and let him go. And
let me do a station break.
The body.
This has been comedian Bob Smiley with a laugh riot of 30 minutes of warm fluffiness.
We got to find your darker side.
I thought we were going to tell funny road stories, and you're like, what about the murder that just happened?
Well, I mean, it's just the dumbness of people.
I can't the drought. Over that. Like, we've got a friend, one of Sarah's best friends. She won't swim in lakes because she's like, that's where all the bodies are. And we used to make fun of her. And then during the drought this summer, all the lakes were going down, and they were finding bodies. And she showed up going, nah, which is weird because she's over 40. Yeah, nobody should say that, but no, but it's people are crazy.
That's right. So you have a great audience to go to. It's very conservative and they understand your humor, and you're not trying to get these crazy people to laugh, and that you have to go to, like if you went to a commercial audience. Do you pine over not being able to stand in front of Carnegie Hall and do your bit?
No, because there's people that are doing that, and they seem like they're doing a good job. And I love being in the box. That's a question I do get a lot. Do you mean, do I wish I was doing other shows besides churches and stuff? Was that your question?
Yeah. Like,
Sorry,
like,
some of my
what was the
fans,
commercial?
like, they got in the building and they're pressed up against the glass.
And they're pushing stuff under the door. That's kind of
Okay,
scary.
it was the mailman, but couldn't we, for the
Okay,
listeners that can't see that, can we
Okay.
pretend it was fans?
Oh, okay. It was a fan knocking on the glass.
Yeah, one autograph per person. Oh, that's
See-
all she needs. She just
see,
needs
they-
one signature.
It was
Okay,
bad.
that
It was-
worked out.
The camera's showing that door. So, okay. Anyway, yeah, I guess people do ask you, do you wish you could be, at some big hall or something?
I want to be, this is going to be a very churchy answer, but I truly mean this. I want to be wherever God wants me to be. And I feel and have felt for a long time that my place is in churches, making families laugh, making, the whole family laugh, kids and adults. And, there's a lot of people. My friend Mike Winfield, he was on AGT this week, and he got the golden buzzer from, what's the guy's name?
Simon?
Simon. From,
Yeah.
Simon. He's been a comic for 20 years. He's been working really hard.
Oh,
He was in the
man.
office for a little while as one of the warehouse guys. We met, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and he's just an awesome dude, and I'm so excited for him. He needs to be right where he's at right now, like winning AGT, and I mean his life's exploding right now, and he's ready. And I'm super excited for him, but I'm also super excited to go to Nebraska this weekend and do a show for 800 people and make them laugh. So I love where I'm at right now. If I got an opportunity to do Carnegie Hall, I would do it. But right now, I'm happy to go where my calendar tells me to go.
Well, I'm going to tell those guys that is trying to bring back Sunday nights about you, and have you go perform.
Where is this?
It's to the senior citizen.
Oh, I'm booked that date. No,
Are you
I'll do it.
saying
I'll
that
do
the
it.
seniors can't understand your humor?
I actually do really well at the scene. Did I tell you about my show during COVID where I was just taking any gig, and there's this guy who always sends out emails going, hey, I need supermarket opening. I need a comic for 45 minutes. It pays $25, and I somehow got on his list, and so I just always ignore it. But during COVID, I was like, oh, hang on, supermarket opening.
$25.
Yeah, I could do that.
Discount food.
Yeah, and so it was supposed to be at a retirement center, and I was like, oh, I'll do that. And it was in the middle of the day, and I had a show that night in East Texas, so I was like, oh, I'll go do that show. And then have I told you the story?
No.
So I pull up, and first of all, it's not a retirement center. It is a clinic for Alzheimer's patients. And my great-grandmother had that, and I actually moved in and lived with them for a while to kind of help them out and to help move them into a retirement center. So I'm passionate about it. So when I pulled up, I was like, okay, and it was for the staff. So I knew it was for the staff. So I was like, this is going to be fun.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I walk in. Well, the first thing that happened was the lady who booked me through this guy, she got COVID. And this was supposed to be a staff meeting. And so the whole staff thought, oh, well, she's got COVID, so we're not having a meeting. So we got an hour off. So when I show up, I go, oh, she's hired me to do a comedy show for you guys. They were not happy because they thought they'd have an hour break.
Yeah.
And so they were like, all right, well, we got to get everybody in the great room. And so I go in, and I'm looking around. I'm like, is there a microphone? And they're like, no. And so it's this huge, gigantic, big room. And because of COVID, the staff had to sit at individual tables. There were only 8 of them. They were all spread out.
Right.
They're all on their phones. And all the patients had to be in the room because they had to be watched.
Oh,
so the
yeah.
patients now are just wandering around the room, like picking books off the shelves. And there was a lady in a wheelchair just rolling around. And at one point, so I just get up and I'm like, this is my life. This is what so I just start doing it. And every once in a while, one of the staff members would look up and go, and then back to the phone, And so I'm up there, and and I had to wear my mask. I couldn't take my mask off because we were all in a room.
No.
So I'm up there doing stand-up with a mask on, with no microphone, and I'm like, hey, my wife and I went into Walmart the other day, and at one point I noticed they all kind of looked up at me, and I turned and I looked, and there was this lady, and she was wearing a gown, and she had stringy black hair. She looked like an aged lady from The Ring. I don't know if you know that horror movie.
Yes. Oh.
But I was in her path. And so she didn't even know what I was doing. And she walked up and I was in her path. And I turned to my left and looked, and her chin was almost on my shoulder. And I don't get scared very much. It scared me so much that I jumped back. And then she just looked at me and just kept walking her route that she was doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best. Like, this is the best. And
you gotta recover.
And at the very end, I realized I had like 5 minutes left. And I go, okay, guys, I got one more story for you, and then I'll be done. And the lady in the wheelchair had been rolling around. She looks at me, she goes, good, 'cause I'm tired of this. And I was like, we all are. We are all, this was a terrible idea, and everybody in the room knows it. But I got one more story for you. And I love that heckle because it was from the heart. Because she didn't know. She didn't know what was going on. She didn't know that I was a comedian or that I was there to do stand-up. So, yeah, so I will definitely do the Sunday night thing. I'll take any gig.
No, I think you'd be great. But I do want to wait till they get an audience of at least. I said, so how many people came to your first, your first worship service? And he said, well, there was, he started backing up. And he goes,
here we go, preacher
there
numbers.
Was 4. There was only 4 there. But that's okay, because we're just getting started, and people don't know, who we are and all that. And that's why I'm here. I want people to get to know us, and we're good guys, and we're here for the community and all that stuff. And so he said, but he's having Southbound. It's a group. I don't know if it's a cappella or whatever, but it's a Christian group, and they had just appeared with Mark Lowry.
Oh, okay.
I love Mark Lowry.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as funny as you, but he makes fun of the Baptists and
yeah.
so bad. But he's so funny, and so I said, so Mark Lowry's going to be there. You're going to have a huge crowd. And he goes, no. South Band's going to be with Mark Lowry, but that's going to be online the night before, and then they're going to travel down here and be with us live.
Oh, did he do the Mondays with Mark?
Yes, Mondays with Mark. That's
I've
right.
done that. You know, Mark.
did?
He lives in Houston.
No,
He lives in Houston, and they contacted me, and like I've been a fan of Mark Lowry's forever, and I've met him twice. And one time was the very first year I was doing stand-up. I was at a festival, and I did a 3:00 in the afternoon, right after the frisbee throwing contest, and then he headlined, and he just got up and just slaughtered.
Oh.
And I waited in line and did the whole, Mr. Lowry, yeah, I'm a comedian, and he was like, oh, that's great. You youngin', like it was very, very like, he was super nice, but it was very much like, yeah, I'm sure you are.
Patty on the head.
Then I met him at GMA, the Gospel Music Week. We were both doing some things there, and that's it. And so I drove to his house to do the Mondays with Mark, and I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know him very well and everything. That dude came out, just gave me a huge hug. It was like I've known him forever. Like it was just crazy.
Oh.
And we went in the room, and he sang some songs, and I started to sing, and he told me that he wanted, viewers to stay watching and asked me politely to sit in the back, and then we told some stories and stuff. But yeah, he's so good. He's funny. He can sing. He's really
amazing.
Cool.
I had watched whenever he was with
Gaither,
yeah. And how he makes fun of them, and it's just he is merciful. He has no mercy about talking about those people and the Pentecostal and everybody. He makes fun of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So they love him. And this guy's, there goes my voice. Okay. I've got to start letting you talk more.
I know.
Sam says,
I drove all the way up here.
I know. Sam will say, Cindy, let the guests talk. I do let them talk. No, no, you're
You
not.
let me talk before we started the show. Like I got here early, and I got
yes.
to say a couple of things.
Yeah, it's true. And I thought that's
We
enough.
should record the pre-show just so that I can get some stories in. But go ahead, Cindy.
That's all. I just wanted you to take over while my voice was getting better. I'm going to get some water.
All right, can I tell you, speaking of like political things that are tough, this was the story I was going to tell you earlier. I was in HEB 2 days ago, and they had the free sample little cooking station.
Right.
open. It's actually the first place that I took Sarah on our first date, and so there's like
I'm sorry.
This is my story.
Cheap. Okay.
And yeah, I like how you can't talk and everything, and then all of a sudden you raced the microphone to get out of cheap. So I'm standing in line, and there's like 4 people in line in front of me, but I'm a comedian. I got nothing to do, nowhere to be, and so I'm like, I'm gonna wait because it was like this casserole, this meat casserole, and I was like, yeah. And the guy's on the intercom telling us, what's in it and everything, and we're waiting, and then finally the guy in front of me gets up. So we've been waiting for about 10 minutes now, and the guy gets up there, and the cook hands him this plate, this little meat like casserole deal, and the guy in front of me goes, "No, thank you." And the guy goes, "Oh, sorry, you were in line." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm a vegan, and I just want to tell you that I will not be eating that." And then he walks away. And the cook looks at me, and I was like, I'm going to be eating his and mine. Why would he wait in line? I will just, and he didn't say, I'm waiting in line so I can tell you that it's wrong, or it's he just said, I'm waiting in line so I can tell you that I will not be eating that. Okay? Like, it was the weirdest.
Oh my word.
I was like, and I've been traveling so much, I had to like think, wait a minute, am I in Los Angeles? Like, I feel like I'm in the Woodlands, but it was so weird.
Oh, HEB in Woodlands?
Yeah, it was at Market Street.
Yeah. Ooh.
I make that kind of money.
Listen, I remember when I lived in the Woodlands, and I went to HEB that was on, where was the HEB? It's like on 105, no, 336.
Oh, okay.
Out here. Okay. And it's in seems like a little part of town, and got something. And then I went to the Woodlands HEB and got it, and it was like 8 times the amount of money. And I said, wait a minute, I can go to to this other HEB and it's paid this much. Why are y'all charging this? Because we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's Market Street.
Oh my word! Oh, it made me sick. I never went back to that HEB. It was just made me sick.
I like it because their free samples are on point, and it's right across the street from my gym. I have a gym. Just go with this story. And but there's a HEB on 242, and there's a local show, so we can actually talk about it. In my mind, I was like, this is gonna bore people in Iowa, but there's a local show. So the one on 242 is cheaper, and it's like pretty big and nice, and and they're not a sponsor, but they're good. But it's so far from my house, though.
Willis just got a brand new signature HEB. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. But it is a signature HEB, so I drove past it several times because I can't read in cursive. So hey, I just made that up on the fly. That's true. That's a pretty good joke right there. Come on, true. Richard. Give me a little something. No, Richard can't read cursive. He doesn't. Right. Isn't that right, Richard?
That's how we're going to be able to talk in code when we're in the old folks' home.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You in the sand. You're right.
Oh yeah, the little fish and stuff. That's going to be so we don't want kids to know what we're talking about. Like, let me have your pudding, but written in cursive, so
or say,
get busted.
Here's $2.
Yeah,
because no one will recognize that anymore.
Yeah,
I've already been told that we're going to lose all our money.
I'm going to write LMSO, laughing my shaw off. I'm just going to be an old person, just in a rocking chair, just laughing my shaw off.
That's wonderful. No, Richard can read cursive, but we had 2 interns that could not read cursive. They never took it. They just didn't know. And Samuel and Cindy don't know how to read cursive either. It's just, she said, I'm forgetting what money looks like. And I went, me too. I know, not because of that, because it's not around anymore. But she said, no, we don't see money anymore. You use that card all the time, and so we just feel like it's the card that has all the money in it. And I mean, and when people say, are you going to work at this shop? Are you going to work at this? I'm afraid I want to know how to change money. Mm-hmm. And I went, no, the machines do that for you. You just put in there what the price was and then what they gave you. And then they'll tell you, well, how much to give them back. And I went, she said, yeah, but then I have to count it out. I don't know how to count out money anymore.
I don't know what the big silver ones are.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a quarter.
And they make the stupid nickels look like a quarter now. And when did they do that? Have you ever noticed that?
I had a merch volunteer, and it was a maybe high school, it may have been 8th grade, and her mom was going to join her, but she was running late, so they asked me to train we'll say 8th grader before, to run my merch table. And so I was like, cash will go in this box, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and if somebody wants to write checks, and she goes, what is that? And I was like, a check. And she was like, what? No, I don't. And she didn't know what a check was. It wasn't that she was, like confused with what you had to write on it or anything. She just didn't know. She had never heard of a check. And I was like, oh, it's a brave new world.
Okay, we're going to talk about teaching our kids how to change the oil when we come back from this break.
Okay.
I have got to take a break. My voice is just gone, but we'll be right back. And this is the Cindy Cochran Show, Real Reality Radio, sponsored by that's my camera right there. Sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Every week, people ask the same 2 questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootton Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these 2 questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, 1-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process of helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran Show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootton Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootton Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootton Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootton Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootton Financial Group, or any of their representatives.
And you're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. We're just having a good time laughing, and that was a funny story you had. I'm sorry you missed it, but
well, it's because we went to break and you let me talk, so that's why.
That's right. No, we've been talking to Bob Smiley, and if you want to get more of him, because I know this wasn't enough, this was just a tease, but if you want to see more of him, Bob, where should they go find you?
Well, Cindy.
It's you go.
Well, Cindy, so should the light be on the camera up here? Well, Cindy, you can go to bobsmiley.com, or I'm on Instagram at bobsmileycomic, or on Facebook. If you're a soccer mom, just head on over to facebook.com/bobsmileycomedy. And if you're a sinner, I'm on TikTok at bobsmileycomic. So there you go.
What are you going to do? They're banning TikTok.
I've been shadow banned twice on there.
Oh, you have?
And once I was, and again, I get a little more political on social media with like posts and stuff, especially Smiley Minute, but the current administration, we won't name names, but it has passed so many really ridiculous. So I did a video of just going, okay, this is a bill that's passed. it seems ridiculous, but I'm obviously the dumb one and so the joke was I would point out like how absurd it was, but I'd go, but I know it's me. I know I'm the dumb one. And I thought, well, okay, that's an easy way to put it out there without, it being hateful. It's like, look, I'm dumb. And I got shadow banned for 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
Like all my stuff was hitting, 15,000, 20,000 views. And then I put that up there and it went to 600 views immediately. And then all of a sudden just stopped. And I was like, I know people. And so then I started posting videos and I posted videos and it'd be like 4 views. And I was like, oh, I'm shadow banned. Yeah. And it took 2 weeks before
they let you back in. Oh.
Yeah. So
well,
it's going to be careful.
It's going to be interesting.
So it's Bob Smiley dancing only on there from now on.
Okay. And you have so many videos with your family and y'all that you do. I love those.
Yeah.
Those
lots of comedy clips.
Yes.
Because now I'm getting paid to put those clips up on with reels and stuff. And so I'm a little more into it now. So
you are.
Yeah, so I'm getting I'm putting clips up every single day. So there's going to be new clips on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all that.
Well, there's something with reels get you addicted, and you just keep going and keep going. And I'll go like, it was 2 hours ago that I started looking at this.
I was behind you in the fast lane, kept honking like, get over. If this was South Carolina, you'd be ticketed by now.
TikTok. We're not. Bob Smiley, thank you so much for being here. You'll come back, right?
Will there be another sandwich?
There will be full of chipotle.
Yeah, chipotle sauce.
I love saying, but what?
Chipotle sauce.
Chipotle sauce. It was oozing with that. And I will have that for you. And did you see I had it right there in front of your...
The presentation was great.
Okay.
If Richard would have let me in the door, I know. He's got that power button over there. He's like looking at me. He's like, dance for me, little comic monkey. Come on. Before you hit the button and let me in. But
well, he'll get his chance tomorrow to do all the talking. I think my voice is just going. Anyway.
I'm not coming yet. I mean, tomorrow.
Tomorrow it's going to be...
Your voice is out. So I can get a story in. I'm just saying, if there's going to be pauses, I'd like to be here for one of them.
I'm so sorry.
I'm getting salty at the end here.
I'm so sorry. I did a...
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I get it. Wind it up. Okay, wind it up. All right. Listen, we'll be back tomorrow with me and only Richard. It'll just be us, and you know how much fun that is. And we'll talk about everything. Listen, have a good day. Call somebody you love. And first responders, we love you so much. And what's great is that God loves you even more. Have a good day.